Today I'm going to show you on the Erlbacher knitting machine how to adjust your ribber dial to your cylinder so that you can use the machine for ribbing. The first thing that I need to have you notice is that rather than having the pin on the back of the machine, I actually have the pin toward the front. And this allows me easy access when I want to set up the ribber dial and the tappet plate with this fin here. This will butt up against the cylinder pin and stop the ribber dial from moving around as you're knitting. So the first thing that we need to do, I dropped my screwdriver, I'm just going to pick it up, is you need to loosen these screws here slightly, just enough so that you can move this fin back and forth easily, and that will allow the cylinder slot, or not the cylinder slot, but the ribber slot to line up with a cylinder slot here. So what I'm going to do is first take out a few of these needles right along where the pin is. You'll notice all I have to do is just pick them up, bend them over, and slide them out from underneath the spring. That'll allow me access to those little screws. Now I've already loosened up the fin here a little. I might loosen it up just a little bit more so that moves freely. There we go. And I'm going to flip that over, and now I'm just going to gently put this down. Also notice on top of the cylinder there's a couple little black marks, and you can mark your cylinder as you see fit. I know right where that pin is, and I know what the relationship of the fin on the ribber dial is. So what I'm going to do is just kind of slightly jiggle this down just a little bit, and then I'm going to, there's a little thumb screw that will hold this up out of position a little bit so that that'll stay put. Now you can notice how I can push that fin into position that it's actually clicking against the fin. So now I know, or against the cylinder pin, excuse me. Now notice how I can just move the dial around and I can position. So if I'm going to position this, I can see how I want to position this slot from the ribber dial. I'm going to use this other one, it's a little better. This with this cylinder slot here. So now I know the pin and the fin are in contact. These two slots are lined up, and that's how you set up to rib. I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm going to gently tighten that just ever so slightly, just to hold that fin into place. Now I can take the whole dial off and I can completely tighten that up, both of them snugly, so that stays into position. Now I will open up my thumb screw a little bit, so now the ribber dial will go down completely into place. My black lines are lined up. I can hear that. And now when I push, might have to pull it down a little bit farther here. There we go. Now you will notice how I'm going to just turn this around just a little bit. How this ribber dial now is lined up with the slot here. So if, when you're making your ribbing, you're going to be transferring your the first needle is always a little difficult to get into position. Now you'll notice how that actually lines right up with that. Now the next step that we need to do is we need to raise the ribber dial up so that the fabric can, as we're knitting, flow between the dial and also the cylinder. So we need to make sure that there's plenty of clearance in that area. So what I'm going to have to do is loosen the thumb screw, and then there's a little Allen wrench like this that comes in the packet of tools, and you'll notice there's a little screw here. And if I put that wrench right in there, and then I'm pushing down here, and if I turn it to the right, notice how that is raising that rubber dial up. And one of the methods that we use to look to see if we're going to have enough clearance is placing either a needle or something in there that'll fit in between. This appears to be just a little bit too high, so I'm going to bring it down, put the hand on the top, and screw gently to the left. Just enough so that we'll have plenty of clearance that that fabric will flow in there.